Hey, hey, ho, ho. Publicans have gotta go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. I'm a teacher, raise my salary, yo. Hey, hey. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. My name is Christopher Belly. I'm a certified CPA accountant. I'm a fake boglehead investor. I'm author of the book Stop Being a Broke Loser. It's on Amazon. And I have a twofold video that I'm going to present to you. Part one, I'm going to tell you exactly why teachers in high school and middle school and elementary school don't get paid a lot of money. And it's actually really simple. And number two, I'm going to tell you why taking a government job is a recipe for mediocrity and disaster and underachievement. So part one, let's talk about why teachers don't make a lot of money. Every time I turn on the freaking news, which I don't really watch anymore, so this is very rare. But every time I skim Google News or, happen to see a TV, a news channel on, I always hear about teachers complaining that they don't make a lot of money. And their argument is, well, it's just not fair. We're teaching the future of the United States. Without us, we would just have this stupid populace that would, just be dumb, I guess. But there is an element of truth to that, 100%. We do need teachers. We also need people to, go on the sewer line. We need people to fix our roads. We need people to join the military. We need all sorts of things. But, there is an element of truth to that. But here's the issue with teachers, okay? And a lot of people, they seem to misunderstand the difference between hard work and highly skilled work. And the debate gets muddied because people say, well, teaching's not hard work, but potentially it could be. Here's the problem. Teaching in general is not a high skill job. Here's how it works in the real world, not in the fake government world. When you have a very, very unique skill, let's say you're a heart surgeon. You know how to cut people open and fix their heart, whatever, McDonald's generated disease somebody has in their heart. And that's really freaking hard. Okay, that takes years and years of specialization and training. And because that skill is so rare, people are willing to pay a lot of money for it because it's rare. It's supply and demand. Okay, you contrast that, those evil heart surgeons that, make hundreds of thousands of dollars. They don't deserve that, because they have a very specialized skill that took them years to attain. You compare that to a teacher. Well, what are the requirements to become a teacher? Well, I guess it depends on a state-by-state basis. But a teacher, basically, you go to college, you get a bachelor's in education. You maybe go ahead and get your master's. But I really challenge you to think about this. Is an education degree very difficult? Is it so hard that people will quit that degree because they can't handle it? Now, when it comes to stuff like accounting, there's a certain cutoff where people that, they hit intermediate accounting and it just gets too freaking hard for them and they quit it and they go to finance and they make more money because finance is a scam. But there are hard degrees that people quit and they can't complete. And that narrows down the pool of people that can find employment in those specific fields. Now, I have very rarely seen somebody, start an education degree and not finish it. Or somebody start an education degree and say it's too hard and then switch over to an accounting degree or a, physics degree, some kind of STEM degree. It's the exact opposite. People that do STEM or accounting, they generally, if it gets too hard, tend to quit that and go over and do something softer like finance, education, something of that sort, okay? Do you see where this is going, ladies and gentlemen? If you want to get a generally easy degree, and it is relatively easier than other degrees, and if you deny that, you're a fanatical left-wing clown. Oh, physics and education are exactly this. They're just as equally difficult. Yeah, okay. But people tend to flock to education because it's generally easy. I could get an education degree in a freaking day. 2 days maybe, a lot of papers probably. It's not hard. So people tend to flock to it because it's easy. And what does that do? That saturates the education teaching industry with people that, are inherently attracted to easier degrees that aren't as mentally challenging. Now, that doesn't mean teachers are dumb. Not in the slightest. I mean, there are some dumb teachers out there. But you kind of get my drift. It's an easier degree. It is a lower skill. The skill set, the rarity of that skill, if you could even call it a skill, it's not rare. You compare that to somebody that knows heart surgery, that's extremely rare. Or somebody that can do plastic surgery, or, all sorts of stuff. That's rare. Teaching and education is not a rare skill set. So these teachers, they go to college and they work really hard and they get their education degree. Do you do any math in those degrees? I don't know. And then they get their master's degree and they pay these, institutions, these educational institutions, a lot of money. And then they get to their local school and they realize, man, this pay is BS. The guy that studied accounting or physics or something that actually is results in a tangible skill, man, they make way more than me, and I can barely afford to pay my bills. Well, maybe if you had done some basic research into your industry, you would realize, number one, that they don't pay a lot, and if you really did some in-depth, philosophical musings, you would realize you're not in a high-skill job. Now, teaching can be hard, but it's not high skill. There's a massive distinction there. Let's describe hard jobs. A hard job is something that is either physically or mentally exhausting. Let's say you're in a second grade classroom. You got all these brats running around. Trust me, my kids are quite too, but I kind of understand what's happening to these teachers. You got all these brats, like, crayons. Well, I guess it wouldn't be two, that'd be like four or whatever. Anyway, they're a bunch of freaking brats. Okay, and you gotta chase them around, you got misbehaving kids, and blah, 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 and then you gotta, prepare your lessons after work, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that sounds pretty difficult. That sounds like exhausting and crappy. But that doesn't change the fact that your skill set is not rare. It's not difficult. It's not unique. It's actually very, very common. That is why, teachers, you don't get paid a lot of money. You have a hard job, potentially, but you don't have a high skill job. But of course, you fanatics, I guess you just don't understand the distinction. That's fine. Anyway, let's move on to the second part of this discussion. You have a government job. You work for the freaking government. And let me tell you what, you can actually make a lot of money in teaching because I did it. If you're a teacher watching this and you're all offended, well, I actually started my own tutoring business and I'm now charging people $70 an hour. Why? Because I have a skill and I work in the private sector. I'm an independent contractor. I don't have to join some stupid school. Oh, yes, welcome to the varsity school. And, deal with a bunch of freaking administrators and clowns and stupid kids. I have my own business where I can selectively choose who I want to tutor. If I think somebody's a butthead, I'm like, all right, yeah, bye. I'm not dealing with you. But if somebody's pleasant and they're willing to pay me $70 an hour, oh, absolutely, I'll teach you all freaking day, okay? You work for the government, and because you work for the government, you're basically relying on the taxpayers to support you. Okay, that's it. You're living off property taxes. And I can tell you, as a person that pays property taxes, I don't want my property taxes to go up 50% so you can get a whatever freaking raise you're demanding, because that comes out of my freaking pocket, okay? That's how taxes work, teachers. If you work for the government, you're contingent on, you're basically dependent on the taxpayer. And at a certain point, the taxpayer isn't going to put up with paying exorbitant amounts of taxes so you can live the high life, okay? Because it's the same thing as a janitor. Yeah, janitor, oh, it's hard. I mean, God, you got to freaking sweep floors all day and blah, 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 blah. But somebody isn't going to pay that janitor $80,000 a year because the job's hard, because it's low skill. And if you work for any government agency, you're basically limited. You'll never get to a point where you can become truly wealthy. You might make a decent money because government wages are really, they're like fake wages, okay? They're not determined by supply and demand necessarily. They're really determined by the government, how much money they have, or, they can go into debt or whatever. But there's basically like fixed pay schedules and this and that and that. But there's no, like, you can't excel. You can't, like, form your own business or maximize your revenue based on your services. You're just simply paid what the freaking pay chart tells you, okay? So, teachers, if you're not happy with your job, I'm sorry, okay? If you really believed that you would go work for a government organization and you believed you can get a degree that is not as challenging as other degrees, and you think you deserve a lot of money for that by increasing the taxes of the taxpayers, I'm sorry, screw you, okay? You should have researched your freaking career. It pisses me off. I hate it. Like, if my property taxes went up by 50% to pay teachers even more, I'd be like, this is ridiculous. I'm freaking moving out of this freaking town. But, of course, I can vote in my town. I'll make sure that never happens, or at least try to. But that's it, teachers, okay? I don't want to hear any more whining. I understand. Like, I used to be low skill too. I get it, okay? I understand. But if you want to make money, it's all about skill, the rarity of your skill. And if you don't like that, you will be freaking poor, broke your entire life. That's it. Cheers.